Today we're talking with John Langenfeld from Remington Ammunition. Got to spend several days out on a hunt with John. He's a real gun guy and a real ammo nerd. Been with Remington for 10 plus years. Stay tuned, it's going to be fun. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Springfield Armory, Meprolight, Hodgdon, the gunpowder people, and Timney Triggers, the world's finest triggers. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. On location, as you can, if you're watching this, you can tell we are not in the studio. So we're out here, West Texas, Alpine, Texas, which is outside of Marfa, which is, we're in the middle of nowhere, John.
Yep, we're almost to the border.
Yeah. So we're here with John Langenfeld, Remington Ammunition. And the reason we are out here, Remington Ammunition has new hunting product, the Core-Lokt Tipped.
Yep, that's correct.
So Core-Lokt Tipped, we're kind of testing it and do it bullet testing and ballistics testing. I mean, you guys do a ton of that anyway at the lab.
Yep.
I mean, talk about, it's important to get out into the field and see it for ourselves, but just talk about in general, what types of tests do you do when you're saying, let's develop a new cartridge or maybe more importantly, like a new bullet like this Core-Lokt Tipped?
Yeah, so we shoot a lot of gelatin blocks at various distances. You got to do that so that you can figure out what your penetration depth is, what your weight retention is, and you know that's going to tell you, get you close to what it's going to do in a real life scenario where we're shooting game.
Yeah.
You can, cross the board, different cartridges, different bullet weights. You got to figure out your jacket thickness. You know, you don't want bullets expanding too quick. And also you need them to open up to transfer energy and do trauma and things to harvest animals quickly.
Well, and so, you know, the Core-Lokt Tipped is obviously a hunting product, but Remington does defensive stuff as well. When we're talking about self-defense, the bullet has to perform.
Yep.
And how is it different when you guys look at what you want it to do versus like a hunting bullet?
Sure. So, I mean, a lot of people have heard of what they call the FBI barrier test protocol, where you're going to shoot through auto glass and plywood, sheetrock. You put layers of clothing over the gel blocks, and you're going to, shoot those at a given distance, pull the bullets out, look at the mush, make sure that they've held weight retention. So you're trying to replicate scenarios that bullet may be used in. And so for hunting ammunition, you're going to create similar scenarios. You can put bones inside the gelatin. You can cover it with hides of animals. For hollow point bullets, you want to make sure that you're not plugging the nose cavity and it doesn't expand. So you're trying to replicate real life scenarios where that bullet's going to be shot at an animal or in a defensive situation.
So the FBI bullet test, it has several different things, very specific tests of windshield, a glass at a particular angle, and those types of things. Which one is the toughest test of the bullet typically?
Typically, the most destructive has been auto glass.
Yeah.
Years ago, before bonded bullets were popular, the auto glass would just strip a jacket right off a bullet. Chew it up, just horrible.
Yeah.
Bonded bullets, bullets with mechanical locking features, overcome that so you can keep your weight and get your penetration that you need to. But auto glass is definitely very demanding of a bullet.
You guys make a bunch of different ones. Do you have a favorite as far as a defensive bullet?
Golden Saber Bonded is there's two versions of Golden Saber, a non-bonded and a bonded version. And for many, many years, the bonded version was only sold to law enforcement, and the regular Golden Saber was a consumer product. But they've recently released the bonded product. So to me, that one that would be my favorite. That is what I would put in a carry pistol, and it's going to defeat the barriers, all of them. It's going to keep its jacket and core together through the auto glass. It's very accurate. It's got what they call the driving band, so that you have the front portion of the bullet that's a slightly smaller diameter that's going to ride inside the lands, and then the back portion is going to be
so the front portion of the bullet's not even touching.
Nope, it rides the inner diameter of your barrel.
Interesting.
And then the rear portion is actually what's getting engraved. The guy who designed that bullet did that intentionally, so it's very, very accurate. It's got spiraled nose cuts on the brass jacket, which clear barriers. If you get t-shirt material, plywood, things like that in there, as that bullet starts to expand, those spiral nose cuts, open up, splay that jacket out. It'll clear the barrier so that you can get fluid in the hollow point cavity and get expansion.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like it's anticipating if something tries to plug the hollow point, it's going to defeat that plug.
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. There's a lot that goes into bullet design. You guys are just sitting around like, wake up in the middle of the night, go, oh, I just thought of something.
I've got to write it down.
That's very cool. What about defensive loads for shotgun? Have you been involved in any testing of that type of stuff?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of that over the years. We've done some buckshot stuff that's called home defense. But not a lot. There was some 410 product that we once did that was buckshot. It was in the home defense line as well. That was pretty popular when you started to see a lot of the revolvers. Yeah, the Tourist Judge. Correct. The Governor. I think the Smith Wesson.
Yep.
We actually offered a combo pack at one time. I'm not sure if we still do today, but it was 45 long Colt, Golden Saber bullets with the home defensive 410 shotgun.
Very
shells.
Cool. Yeah. Boy, you want to get some people riled up on YouTube. You talk about shotguns for home defense.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about 20 gauge, 410. You talk about birdshot, and people lose their minds.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everybody's got an opinion on what they think is the best to be used.
Yeah. And we were kind of, I guess, honestly, what we were frustrated with all the comments on the experts who were saying, you can't do this, and they would use these superlatives, or it always does this, or whatever. So we set up, because we were saying, there's just too many variables of tests. We set up wall barriers, and 2 interior walls, so you have sheetrock, and then another sheetrock, you have another one like that. Then you had an exterior wall. To see, okay, let's shoot through all 3 walls. What leaves the house?
Sure.
In that example. Now, if you live here, you could literally shoot a 50 cal for home defense. You're not going to hit a neighbor. There's no neighbor to hit. You're surrounded. But if you live in a small, tight knit neighborhood or apartment complex, you could say, all right, I don't want it just going forever. Here's the crazy thing: we shot a good variety of stuff. Everything went through all 3 walls, except the only 2 that didn't go through all 3 walls was a 223 lightweight, like varmint bullet, like a 40 grain type of bullet, or birdshot. Yeah. And then we said, okay, let's move those over to I think either jugs of water, because sometimes that's the easiest thing. Gel sometimes is not always available, so we'll go, okay, water's a consistent medium. It's not the perfect thing, but and at close distances, they still did a lot of damage. Yeah. And so that's why I can trigger somebody by saying birdshot for home defense, and they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not saying it is the best thing ever. Right. It's really not. But if you're very concerned about overpenetration, it can be an option. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, I'm not saying this is my advice to you, but I'm just saying, if you live in an apartment complex, maybe that's an option. Have there been tests over the years when you guys are doing stuff that you got something you didn't expect to get, that you were surprised by, or it didn't act like you thought it would? Yeah, we see stuff, on a regular basis where, when we set up a test, you always kind of hypothesize what's going to happen. And a lot of times we'll ask the other engineers, what do you think this is going to do, just to see, what you think. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of a time that I was really shocked. Like I said, it happens pretty regularly when things turn up that are a little bit different. Whether it's, shooting a gelatin block and you see something that penetrates, a lot deeper than you think, or, dealing with shotgun patterns, and you're evaluating various types of, like non-toxic shot. TSS tungsten is a real popular one these days for turkey hunters, and, choke response for that is makes a big deal. That was one. It's important. It is very important. I can remember whenever I was working on the Remington 20 gauge TSS loads, and I was shooting them through a just kind of a extra full choke tube, and I had purchased some chokes specifically optimized for TSS, and I just couldn't believe how much tighter it made the patterns. It's very interesting you're talking about this, because I was just doing a video about patterning, and we weren't trying to cover everything about chokes and patterns, but just to try to get a starting point. But we were talking about how much a difference a choke can make.
Mm-hmm.
And even like your gun may come with chokes.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, but like not all chokes are created equal.
Yeah.
And the guys who make aftermarket chokes, they'll be like, well, have you patterned your gun with the choke it came with?
Yeah.
Not only is the pattern may not be great, it may be not to point of aim.
Sure. Yeah. And, developing ammunition, we test in a variety of platforms.
Mm-hmm.
If it's shot shell ammunition, it'll be a variety of shotgun manufacturers. Sometimes they use different bore diameters, but we'll also evaluate factory chokes, aftermarket chokes, because you don't want to develop a product that only works well in one specific type of product. You want it to be very diverse, and so we've got to know that. We've got to be able to go in and make sure that the product, whoever picks it up and buys it, that they're going to see good performance.
Yeah. All right, we're going to be right back. ATN optics are not your granddaddy's optics. These are smart HD optics. It's powered by the latest microprocessors, and it uses a high-res micro display. So a ton of features in these, and we've talked about them before, but they also have an upgrade program for the current X-Sight optics owners. So if you own an X-Sight optic, you can upgrade to the latest models. The full warranty is included and free shipping. You can find out more at atncorp.com/upgrade program. Also, Meprolight, known for a lot of different things, sights as well as like red dot optics. Their latest is the RDS Pro V2 military grade red dot. 16 levels of brightness for any lighting condition, day or night. That means it'll work with night vision. You can order this with different reticles, dot or bullseye, red or green. Thousands of hours of use from a single AA battery. Check them out at meprolight.com. And Hodgdon Powder. A passion for shooting and hunting drives these folks. And I know because every time I try to reach them, they're on a hunt or something like that. But they are the largest supplier of smokeless black powder and black powder substitute propellants. The big deal is if you're looking at getting into reloading, you can go to the Hodgdon Reloading Data Center. It's the leader in reloading information. Just go to hodgdonreloading.com for more. Okay, what I want to talk about now, John, because we've spent a few days together and I realized that you are a gun nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And a cartridge caliber nerd, which I love. So let's talk about some weird, or maybe weird to a lot of people, cartridges, calibers, guns that you have.
Okay.
What was the one you were telling me about this morning? It's a 300 by or something. It's like a 338 Lapua.
Yeah, no, yeah. So that's called a 33 G&A.
I bet you hadn't heard of that one, have you?
It's a Wildcat still. So it predates the Ultra Magnums, and it's back whenever you're trying to get more velocity in 338s. And so it's a 404 Jeffrey case, neck down to 338, 35-degree shoulder, non-rebated rim. And that particular platform is built on a very light rifle. I figured it would,
you figure you have a really powerful cartridge.
Yeah.
Let's put it into a light rifle.
Yeah.
I'm just
easy to carry.
Masochist.
Yep.
You name this rifle the Masochist.
Yeah. It kicks pretty good on the bench. It's very fast recoil because the rifle is very lightweight.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go up Elk Mountain and carry a gun, a lot more than you're going to shoot it, it's not going to wear you out, and it's very accurate. So that's the only Wildcat that I own.
What are the bullet weights and velocities you getting with that?
So 250 grain bullets at 3,000, 2.25, 230s running close to 3,100.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7.25 pounds fully loaded, ready to go.
And when you shoot something with it,
oh, it hits with authority. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's like you dropped a grand piano on it.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. That's fun. Now, it seems like we've got this journey of, well, we always have, of Wildcats, and then stuff morphs into, now we've got mainstream calibers and cartridges that are happening. You got 6.5 Creedmoor, which is funny, the whole 6.5 thing. It's like, it's a whole new concept. 6.5 bullets.
Right.
Right? What was it? Karamojo Bell shot 100 elephants with a 6.5, I believe?
I think it was 7 millimeter.
7 millimeter?
Yeah, but
okay.
Pretty cool.
Right.
It wasn't a big bore.
Yeah. So you're a shooter and you do a lot of shooting. Long range is popular these days.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where do you see things going with that? I mean, and what do you guys have got to be having discussions about that and products that you're talking about for that crowd.
Well, for target shooting, you've got to have good match grade ammunition that a guy can go and buy and take to a match and it'll be accurate in his rifle. And, long range hunting is becoming more and more popular. And it's also very controversial.
Yeah, it is.
And just because you can ring a steel target at 1,000 yards doesn't mean you need to be shooting an animal that far. And, there are people that are taking game at extended ranges. And, what's critical there is to make sure that your rifle cartridge combination is not only accurate, you've practiced with it, but also carries enough energy to effectively harvest that animal. And the bullet as well will expand at those lower velocities.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll be right back after this. Springfield Armory's latest gun is the Saint Edge ATC. I mean, the Saint guns. These are AR family rifles that really are really nice and packed with a lot of features and value. This one is an accurized AR, free-floated barrel system, and it has a lot of other stuff too. The AccuTight Plus tensioning system that kind of tightens up the upper to the lower. It has the Springfield Armory muzzle brake, which I've been impressed by the way that reduces the recoil, and a B5 Systems grip and stock. It comes in 223 Wild, and it comes with a 20-round PMag. They have a couple different models. You can find out more at springfield-armory.com. Smith Wesson, the newest from Smith Wesson, is an M&P, but it's in 10 millimeter, and everyone's loving the 10 millimeter right now because you can do a lot of things with it. Obviously, for self-defense or carry, great, lots of power, but also because it is a little bit more power, you could use it for hunting or sort of a backup gun in the woods, that type of thing. The M&P 2.0 offers an improved trigger, enhanced grip texture, interchangeable palm swell grip inserts. You know that for M&P. You can find out more at smith-wesson.com. John, I want to talk about Rimfire because there are only so many companies doing Rimfire and primers and all that. Primers. Did he say primers? You're going to get people like itchy when you say the word primers right now. Everybody's looking for them. Rimfire is interesting because, Remington, you guys load just tons and tons and tons of them.
Every day.
Do you find that people are shooting more Rimfire today? I mean, where kind of we going with the Rimfire world right now?
I really don't know if people are shooting more or they're just buying everything they can.
Yeah.
One or the other. I mean, I would like to think that they are shooting it that way. They keep buying for those reasons. But, Rimfire, recently we've come out with a new subsonic load that was maybe a year or two ago. We optimized bullet weight and the hollow point cavity to make sure that the bullet would expand at the lower velocity levels. And we also went in and, put sound meters up and checked it to make sure that everything was staying subsonic. They didn't have a supersonic crack, so minimized the variation where it was loaded. Clean burning with function guns, because suppressors are also more popular today than they were 10 years ago.
And you're really, when you do that, you're playing with physics, and the physics have no compromise.
Yeah, right.
Right. But you're going, okay, somebody goes, well, I want it to be subsonic. I get it. It has to be, it has to be under 1,100 feet per second or so.
Yep.
But I want it to run in my semi-autos.
Exactly. Yeah,
well,
exactly.
So you want it to be less powerful, but also run the semi-auto. And I also want the bullet to expand. Well, but we're going slower. It's going to make it harder to expand.
Yep.
I mean, this is, you're playing with so many variables on that. The subsonic thing, I think, is going to continue to be a big deal because, well, we just heard that E-forms are coming back online for ATF. So now we're talking about 60 days to get a suppressor, which is that, from what I've heard, the weight is the deterrent.
Sure.
It's not the $200 tax stamp, but it's I may get it in 9 to 12 months. I don't know exactly. But if you said you'll have it in 2 months, you're not even going to notice.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, now they're going to go, well, I want subsonic for everything.
Yep.
You guys are doing subsonic in not just rimfire.
No, we do it in your standard pistol cartridges like 9mm 45, 300 blackout, of course, 220 grain subsonic. Those are the most popular ones. And the 9mm and the 45 has got an enclosed base, so you don't let up your suppressor.
Okay.
You minimize lead at the firing line, things like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're enclosed base bullets. Specifically for shooting with suppressors. I mean, you can shoot them without one, but whenever we looked at what does a guy that has a suppressor, what does he want out of something? You don't want to let it up because it's very difficult to clean them up, things like that.
Yeah.
So we did everything we could to have it clean burning. Keep the suppressors clean, keep the velocity levels below the speed of sound, function guns, all that kind of stuff.
And if you're gonna try to use subsonic for hunting, I would think that not only do you need the bullet to expand at those lower velocities, but also, all things being equal, how big of a bullet can we load?
Sure. Yeah.
Right? I mean, like we're gonna push it up to that max, whether it's 1050 or somewhere in that ballpark. But could you load like a 240 grain in a 300 blackout? Can we go 260? Can we go higher? I mean, are you guys playing with those ideas?
Oh, always. We're always trying to see what we can do and what works, what you can't. Sometimes you run into limitations and barrel twists and stability factors, getting into powder capacity. Can you physically manufacture it on the equipment that we have? Are you going to draw a jacket too long, for the presses that we have, things like that. So, but we keep an open mind with everything we do and look at the extreme scenarios and see, if it'll work or not.
Yeah. Very cool. Lots of fun stuff coming. And you guys have increased, is it fair to say you guys have increased the production in the last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody, it's no hiding that we went through a bankruptcy. Remington did, and Vista Outdoor purchased the Remington ammunition plant out of bankruptcy. And, they've been, increasing the output of the factory, getting behind it and getting the workforce trained up and hiring employees and, putting money where it needs to be. If something's wore out, getting it fixed and, taking a really good hard look at a business strategy and how to make Remington great again. Yeah. And so, everything, in my personal opinion, we've got a very bright future with Vista as the owners.
Yeah. Good to hear. I know everybody listening is happy to hear it because they need more ammo. They need more ammo, right, baby? All right. Well, that's it for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.